Hello and welcome to this video for GCSE revision that I'm doing. In this particular video, I want to look at tests. There are some tests that you need to know in science that you've done through the years, and I'm just putting them together here. They can be, any of these tests can be asked on your paper. One thing that is certain, these tests will be on your paper in one way or the other. So I'm just going to review them. Generally, students remember a number of them, or they remember one and not the other. So I'm putting this together so you can be reminded of all of the tests, because it could be by just looking at this test or revising these tests that I'm going to look at, you just earn yourself some other between 2 and 5 extra marks, depending on what your exam board decide to put on the paper, where it cuts across in physics, chemistry, and biology. So specifically, I'm looking at tests for oxygen. So I'm going to just call these gas tests. So we have oxygen. The test for oxygen is you take a test tube that's filled with oxygen and you put in a glowing splint. A glowing splint is the one you light and turn off and blow out the flame. When you blow out the flame, it will still be glowing. So insert or put in a glowing splint into a test tube filled with oxygen, and the result should be, it should relight. If it relights and bring up the flame, you know that gas is definitely oxygen. Remember, oxygen is needed for burning. Oxygen is what we need during respiration, that we take in to break down glucose to release energy. So oxygen is needed for burning, or for rusting, or for combustion. These are all the processes of oxidation. So that is the test for oxygen. Then we have hydrogen. With hydrogen, similarly, if you have a test tube that's filled with hydrogen, how you know that how you test that this gas is hydrogen, you put in a lighted splint. Whereas it's glowing, you really need the one with flame for hydrogen test. You put in a lighted splint into the test tube, and the outcome is that you hear a squeaky pop sound. Or if you just say it makes a pop sound, that's simple enough. It makes a pop sound because hydrogen is a very highly explosive gas. So if you imagine how little you have in a test tube, and it gives that pop sound, so you can imagine how much a lot of it in a container is. As a matter of fact, that's one of the downside of driving hydrogen powered cars. Hydrogen is a gas, is available, it doesn't cause pollution and all that, but one of the disadvantages, if you were ever asked such a question in GCSE to state the advantages and disadvantages of using hydrogen to power your cars, that will be one of the side effects. It's a very, very highly explosive gas, and transporting it from place to place is difficult. The problems of leakages and all that. I just thought I'll pop that in quickly while we are looking at gases. All right, then we have CO2, or carbon dioxide. Now the test for carbon dioxide is you need lime water. So if you bubble CO2 into a container with lime water, a slight precipitate is formed. So the outcome is that it turns from clear to cloudy. These colors do not mean anything, it's just me. I like using different color pens. All right, so the outcome is it turns from clear to cloudy. Right? It turns from clear to cloudy. That is the outcome for the test for carbon dioxide. All right? I'm going to rub it off to create space for the next one. I'm going to look at chlorine gas as well. So chlorine is another gas that I'm going to talk about the test. So for chlorine gas can turn, the test for that is it turns blue, litmus paper, damp, actually damp one, damp slightly, yeah, damp litmus paper to red, then bleaches it. It bleaches it. All right, then we have, I'll just pop in there while we're at it. We have the test for ammonia. Ammonia is another one. The test for ammonia is it turns damp red litmus paper blue. So it turns damp red litmus paper blue. These are the gas tests that you're going to meet with. I have looked at the gas test because I'm putting everything in one place. I'll just quickly look at the bromine water test as well. This is for alkanes and alkenes. I'm going to do a video, or a separate video on alkanes and alkenes in the next couple of days, in a day or two. But this is the test for alkanes and alkenes, the bromine water test. Now for the bromine water test, you use it to identify alkanes from alkenes. Now, as a very quick reminder, alkanes are saturated. They are saturated hydrocarbons. It means that they are full. There is no space to add on anymore because each carbon atom is surrounded by 4 bonds. And then but for alkenes, they have at least 1 double bond. That's one major difference between alkenes and alkanes. So alkenes have got 1 double bond, which during a reaction can be broken to create space, as it were, to add another element. So the test for bromine, in bromine water, there is no change for alkanes. But in alkenes, it turns, the bromine water changes from orange brown color to clear. That is a test for that differentiates alkenes from alkanes. All right, remember I said I'm putting everything in one place. So I've looked at gas test, I've looked at the bromine water test. The last one I want to look at is food test. So you have some very specific food tests you do in biology, and this is how you test for them, and these are the outcome. For that, I'm just going to draw a quick table. So we have the food, we have the test, and we have the results. So I'm going to do that quick table to explain that. So I'm going to start with glucose. If you're testing for glucose, you add Benedict solution. So Benedict solution is what you need to test for that. And if indeed it has glucose in it, it will turn brick red. Brick red is your outcome if there is glucose in if the food contains glucose. Now I'm going to do starch. Very many students can remember starch. So you use the iodine solution. You add the iodine solution to the food that you're testing for the presence of starch. If there is indeed starch, the color change should be blue-black. Okay, that's how you test for that. And then I'm going to do the protein. Sometimes they say you use the egg albumin or egg white. So the protein test, you use the biuret. You use the biuret solution. The biuret solution will turn it to lilac or purple. Lilac or purple. That's what you're looking at for the biuret test for proteins. And then the last one is for fats and oils. All right, for fats and oils, this is the test. You do the emulsion. The emulsion test. For the emulsion test, it's very simple. You mix the food with some ethanol, and then add some of this solution to water. If you do that, you should have a white emulsion form. Okay, having a white emulsion, solution that looks a bit kind of cloudy with the whitish particles in it. If that happens, then you have done that test. So in a very quick way, these are the tests: the gas test, the bromine test, and the food test. I thought I'll put all of them together in one video so you look over that all in one place. These are all topics that you have in different topics in biology and chemistry, but I've just put them together here in one go because this is revision. Remember, keep revising. Whatever you do, keep revising and keep positive, and have a very good day. God bless.